Okay, so it's 2 days later. Took me a bit to get back to it. The sand point was more or less fine. The stainless steel screen had slid up the point about an inch, though it didn't expose any of the holes. So that's still fine. The well is in. I measured it out, cut it off, and installed a T, which you can't see, 3 feet down. And then I've stubbed out right here. Now you can see I obviously still have that pipe rising to the surface that I need to now remove. Now that I've got my one-way valve and my hose barb installed, I can now put a block down there and untwist it from the top. Still haven't quite figured out how I'm going to plug it. I believe I'm going to weld some Gates rod to a pipe cap plug so that I can reach it from the surface or reasonably close to the surface. At least that's my thought. I'm using an old, used, and probably not a whole lot of good one-way valve right there. My main brand new shiny super duper one-way valve will be right at the pump. This is just to hold water in the pipe, because I'm still a little concerned as to how I'm going to prime this, because I can't seem to drive enough water down the whole mess to come out. So we'll see. All it's really got to do is slow the water down. This thing will only be used this one time, or if the well ever needs to be reprimed again. Here's that 5-foot chunk pulled out, and this is more or less just a discard now. It looks like the threads on the end survived beautifully. So now all I got to do, I don't know if you can see it down in there or not, is attach a 1.25" plug to the top of my T down there, and hopefully do it in such a way that it can be accessed later. I considered leaving the whole piece of pipe, just cut it off shortly below, and then cap it. My fear, of course, is that over time the water will absorb the air and it'll eventually slowly fill up, and what will happen then, of course, is this top will freeze, burst, and I'll have a great big mess. So I think it's safest if I just go ahead and cap it down there. I did have one other casualty while pulling that well that last time, is that I had a pipe wrench explode, most of which is way down there. Luckily, however, I was able to go past it, and I'm just going to leave it down there for all eternity, because I don't have a big magnet to fish it out with. Of course, the way I pulled it was simply with a high lift jack. You put the pipe wrench on it sideways, and then you lift right here, and of course it jams. Apparently that's really hard on your wrenches, so be careful when you pull them out. This is the basic idea for that cap, is I'll weld these two together here. I haven't decided yet whether that'll be good enough, and I'll just get at it with a socket wrench and extension, or if I'm too worried about my sockets joining the shattered pipe wrench at the bottom of the hole. Otherwise, I thought about using a small piece of pipe, but once again, I was convinced that it would eventually fill with water and freeze and break. So I'm going with solid rod. Okay, so this is what I did. Welded the plug on, welded on a bolt, getting a little more room. Hopefully I'll just screw it in, tighten it from the top. Okay, there it is installed. Plug tightened down, didn't break off. The way this works is it's set up so that I can put this cap to the top. It slides down, and then this is just below grade. I thought about a screw cap, but any water it sat on top would eventually work its way through. This way it has to come up, and it works as Dad has cut it out on the lathe until it just slips over. Drop it on, and with luck that's more than enough to hold like the lawn tractor or whatnot. And because it's gonna be just below grade, I don't have to worry about mowing around it or over it or whatnot. Alright, there it is. There's something wrong with my free pump, but that's not uncommon in free pumps. Some people have to actually buy one. But yep, we got water. Still in the process of pumping it, and that'll take some time. But what's most important for me tonight was to be able to fill that ditch back in. we got a whale of a storm due. So now I won't have a lake, I'll just have a muddy spot.